It was just the one game against Sam Houston, overtime win. What are some of your takeaways when you went back and watched it?
Uh, some of it was self-inflicted things. I think there's things we work on all the time, and I think it kept the game more closer than we needed it to be. I felt like we got to some of the places we needed to get to on the floor. Another part of it was doing things we don't practice. I mean, I'm a big stickler on being who you are, and I had guys on the floor just ad libbing at times, and we went over that in film, and just doing what we practiced because everything that we practiced was good enough to win the game. And then we had to adjust, and we found out that our bench was going to be big that night with Jordan, AJ, and Al Green. We went small because we felt like with Jordan rebounding the way he's been rebounding that he could play big, which helped us a lot. And then AJ and Al came off the bench, and we were able to kind of muster some strength with that. And then, like I told you guys the other day, I know everybody looks at that sheet, but Amari Abram was an all-star that night. And if he can be that going forward, it just makes us a better team. So.
How do you think in this world of college basketball where people pay so much attention to stats and counting stats and impact on the floor, how do you think Sean Newman doesn't make the Bob Cousy watch list?
How can I say this in the right way? I think that it makes me feel like it's a concerted effort to separate the levels. I mean, because there's no way you can look all across college basketball. And it's not only Sean Newman. Donovan Dent in New Mexico is dynamic. A dynamic point guard, one of the best in the country, regardless where he plays. He can play anywhere in the country. If those two went in the portal right now, every Power 5 school would be trying to come get them. So why are they not good enough to be considered for those awards at this level? And that is disappointing to me. I think it's a travesty. I think that it needs to be looked at and reevaluated. I know it's just whoever's award that they give, and they can do their criteria could be whatever, but don't call it a college basketball award, a Division I award, if it doesn't include all Division I players.
I heard you tell the TV announcers during shoot around that you felt like with there being a bye and there being so many days to prepare for this one game that it may end up being like a rock fight with how the game played out and points were just hard to come by. How much was how the game played out just a byproduct of having so much time to prepare for this one game?
I think that's exactly what it was. When you have a week to prepare for one opponent, you can prepare for more things. Like I felt like we knew everything they were doing and they knew everything we were doing. And so now it is a literally dog fight to get to a basket. And I was proud of our team. I always preach defense. I come in here and I talk defense all the time. And I was proud of our team because we gave up, I think, 12 points in by the first media, maybe the first 3.5, 4 minutes of the second half. And we gave up 9 the rest of the half. And we really locked in defensively because we knew what the scout report was. We knew what they were going to do. It was just about us executing and being tough enough to go do it, and we did it. And points were hard for us to come by, but at the right time, we hung in there. One of the things we like to do is win the last 5 minutes of the half, last 5 minutes of the game, last 5 minutes of overtime, or the 5 minutes of overtime, and we did all 3 of those, and it propelled us to a victory.
Not that the matchup's going to be easy, but seeing Liberty, I guess the first time for those new guys that hadn't seen it before, what do you feel like they can take going on the road and seeing it again?
I don't know if you can make it the same because on the road, they're at home. They get their home court, their fans, their rims, their practice times, their beds to sleep in, no travel. So I don't know if you can make it the same, but what they have to understand is that you have to be more locked in to the way you guard Liberty. They move excellent without the ball. They are unbelievably locked in at all 5 positions at what they're supposed to do and what they're looking for. And so we can't have letdowns. We can't have a moment where we go to sleep and let a guy get a basket that we kind of knew was prepared to get baskets. We have to follow scouting report to the T. And if we can do that and rebound the basketball their first miss, we can give ourselves a chance to win. If you don't, it could be a long night at Liberty. And so I have a bad taste in my mouth. Last year we lost on a shot that kind of ended it when we had I think it was tied at that time with about 6 seconds left. We had a foul to give. We were supposed to foul. We didn't do that. And though we didn't do it, I still thought the matchup with Bacho guarding Cleveland on the box was a really good matchup for us to get a stop. and then a guy just helped off, and we gave up a three. So I'm anxious to go back and be able to kind of get a win there.
The man of the last two games you've won, down 4 against Middle with about 5 left, ended on a 16-6 run to win it. Down 5 against Sam Houston with about 7 minutes to go, ended on a 7-2 run, forced overtime. Being able to come back, those 2 late games, how can that, help you moving forward?
Yeah, I heard a stat that maybe in like 8 or 9 times this year we've won games after trailing at halftime. And I said it's the best worst stat I've ever heard. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I'm okay. I love that we're tough enough and resilient enough to fight back. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like you can keep digging ditches for yourself as you get into February and March and be a good basketball team. I feel like at some point you have to start off well, maintain, even though they might have their runs, and be able to put people away. That's what the really good teams do, and that's what we have to work to. I felt like in conference play last year, that's what we did a lot of the times. We were able to go on road and win a lot of games because we had maturity and age and experience. And we don't have that experience, but I think we are getting a little better. I thought that was our best defensive game of the year, and I hope it was not only because we had a week to prepare, but that we're learning to lock in.
Ben, you got something?
Yeah. You go back to Saturday, obviously you went to Jordan before again. For this team and kind of what they bring nightly, how difficult is it for you to figure out what you're going to do night to night from a rotation standpoint, just not knowing who's going to step up?
That is extremely difficult because you go in with a game plan, you go with some understanding of what you need. The beauty is Jordan has given us some consistency the last 3 weeks, and he's been able to play pretty solid when he's gotten the games, depending on his minutes. He has been injured in that time too, so I have to take that into account, and he wasn't available for some road trips to play minutes like that. But it is extremely difficult. And at the end of the day, I didn't even know if it would work with Jordan at the 4. I just knew that he would rebound and fight. And at that point, the thing we needed most was fight. And he did. But I think that comes with the maturity that I'm talking about. I think people think maturity is just immature, like adolescent. No, maturity is understanding how to be consistent, do your job every night, night in, night out, and the magnitude of what you're doing. And I don't think we have that yet. That's why I think you see one night it's Al Green, one night it's Jordan, one night it's Caden, one night it's Devin Reed, one night it's Sean Newman, one night it's Bacho. I think we got to get to the point where the majority of us play well on the same night. And if we can get to that, then we can get to a point where we can win road games. They're tough to win regardless, but we can pull those out, and then we can be more dominant at home.
Team was at the bottom of the league, 2-4, and you had the 3-game homestand. You said we got to protect our home court to get back into the standings. Well, you did that. Now you're in a log jam, tied for third, just 2 games out of first, going into the back half of conference. Just how can we propel, and take these 3 home wins and propel yourself into that back half of conference play?
I guess if you look at it and ask yourself, like, how did those 3 games help? One, our back was against the wall, so we had to fight and learn to fight, and I think that helped. But 2, like, those are 3 of the most physical teams in our league, with the exception of a couple other ones that I think are super physical. And so when you have the physicality like that, it made us be tough. Sam Houston was extremely physical. I mean, they were extremely at the point of attack, guarding drives, pushing off screens, and we embraced it, and we actually fought. And so hopefully we can learn that and then take some of that on the road with us. I think Amari Abrams, at first I think he was defending because we were asking him to, just kind of because it was what we were asking him to do. Now I think he's bought into it all the way. Like, he was celebrating defensive things in the game. He was getting stops and diving on the floor like true, really good defensive players do. I think the 2 biggest plays were he was fighting them on the screen. They got a moving screen, and he jumps up and he gets energized. And I think 2 possessions later or something like that, then he gets the steal down, and he just starts celebrating. He goes and knocks down 2 free throws. I don't even think he thought about the free throws. He was so excited about the stop, and those are the things we have to do to go be able to win on the road.
I imagine when you recruited AJ, you probably didn't think he was going to be playing overtime, pivotal conference game. I mean, like, how much has he exceeded, I guess, just what you thought, he would give you? Obviously, you're a true freshman, year 1 in college basketball.
To be really honest, I thought he would be where he is now earlier, and I felt like he was getting there, and then we had Christmas break. And then we came back from Christmas break, and I was like, oh, my goodness, he didn't understand, and my lack of getting him ready, I would take some blame for that, of how hard conference is going to be, how different the intensity of a conference game is than a non-conference game. And I'll say this: I asked my guys the other day, like, is it a different intensity than when we played Grand Canyon and Georgia Southern? They said no question. And those are two good teams. But the intensity level when you get into conference play is so high. He hadn't seen that before, and so he took a step back. And then I felt like we finally got him back to where I thought he possibly could be, and I was wrong that he would be there earlier. But we finally got him back there, and it is a luxury for having him, because he's not only become a safe guy, a safe place to give the ball when Sean's off the floor, but he's also become a really good defender.
Good, Ben? Yep. All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.